debut in Philadelphia. I was in Minneapolis and New York to see James Harden play his first 2 games as a member of the Philadelphia 76ers. And I have to say, if you're a fan of that team, if you're a member of that organization, you have to feel really, really good about where the Joel Embiid, James Harden partnership sits after its first 2 games together. Now listen, this thing is going to get a lot more difficult from here. The Minnesota Timberwolves and the New York Knicks were ideal early opponents for this team to play. They both foul a lot. They're both teams that have been mediocre or to worse defensively this season. And they're the kind of teams that, as we saw in these 2 games, James Harden and Joel Embiid can really feast against. Now, we will see what they look like as they go into March. As Joel Embiid has repeatedly pointed out, the schedule gets much tougher. It's the 7th hardest schedule in the league, according to ESPN Stats and Information Group, and in the month of March. And we're going to see the Sixers play a lot of premium opponents over the next few weeks that'll give us a better gauge of where this team is at. That being said, through these first 2 games, straight A's across the board. James Harden and Joel Embiid immediately found chemistry in the pick and roll. Tyrese Maxey has been outstanding as the third option. He's finding spaces to attack and use his speed both in transition and when the ball gets swung to him offensively. He's also knocking down open catch and shoot shots, a must for him going forward. And even beyond that, I think if you're a Sixers fan, the thing you might have to be the most encouraged about is the way James Harden is approaching this entire experience. He's been pretty defiant in his press conferences. He's talked about the fact that he feels like he's a great teammate. He feels like he's in a great space. He wanted to do the things that would put him in a position to be happy. He says his body feels great. He's repeatedly said it's been frustrating to not be on the court. This is something my colleague Malik Andrews has talked about a lot. Harden has always stressed how important it is for himself to be on the court for his teammates. He's always prided himself on being available all the time to play. That has not been the case after these hamstring issues over the past calendar year. He says that those are behind him. He feels great. And this Sixers team, which for the first 50 games or so of this season was a really good team that didn't have a real championship ceiling, with James Harden, they have a real championship ceiling. Now, again, we'll see in the coming weeks what they look like against better opponents, but you have to look at these first 2 games as a massive win if you're a Sixers fan and for where this team is headed.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.